Jack,
Yeah.
it's you. Welcome. We've been hearing about Hippie Jack for years and years, and now it's you. It's in the flesh. It's great.
I finally got the ankle bracelet off.
Hey, whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes. I was talking before when I was introducing you in the beginning about how you showed up in rural Tennessee in 1972 from Florida.
I did.
And what was the general consensus about who are these guys?
It was the first family I ever had.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat. They were the kindest, most generous, loving people I'd ever met in my life. They were nothing like the people portrayed in Life magazine in 1964, and they weren't dangerous or mean or uninvolved. They were kind and loving and helping, and without them, we'd have never survived.
Yeah. And you have been, throughout your life, you've been a photographer.
That's true.
And you've had exhibitions in museums and great big shows. Is that how you got to know the people in your neighborhood in the beginning? Did you go take their picture?
That's right.
Yeah.
I got to know them because I worked for a large animal veterinarian for a while. And on Wednesday afternoons, on our short little time off, I would drive around the community and photograph the vanishing cultures. And sometimes they'd come out and they'd go, "Well, what are you doing? Who are you?" And I'd say, "You know me, I'm Doc's hippie." Because that's what they called me.
There's Doc, and then there's Doc's hippie.
That's right. And it worked out real well.
That's cool. Now, Helen mentioned there was a comment when you were trying to make a donation of some food. A woman made a comment that really affected you. What did she say?
She said, "Don't worry, we don't give the food you bring us to the people that don't deserve it."
So that's a confusing thing to hear.
Well, I understood it. I mean, I do and I don't. I mean, people feel like they need to have rules, and parameters. And
there's a lot of misconceptions about poverty in general, I think.
Oh, Lord God. I mean, how do you know who deserves it?
Right.
If you don't know their backstory, if you don't know them personally, it completely astounded me. And I don't mean in like some religious lightning bolt way, but just sort of an epiphany. I mean, how many did you get? How many epiphanies you had? Like 3?
If you're lucky.
I've had 3. I'm hoping for another one tonight.
Yeah, come on, you could go for 4. Go for 4, Jack. You can do it.
Well, we'll see. I'll let you know.
Well, tell me a little more about this place where you live. You wanted to help people there. There's a lot of need, a lot of poverty.
We started out in one little town called Cravenstown. And Cravenstown is sort of the epicenter of a long-gone coal mining area that existed from the early 1900s until the early 70s. And there's about 250 people in Cravenstown, and they're survivors. It's unbelievable. It really started when I was in the Honey Springs Cemetery, and I noticed 2 little headstones, and it was stillborn children, twins, 11 months apart. And I started looking around the cemetery, and 60% of the headstones were under 4 years old.
Wow.
And it blew my mind, and it was still like that.
Wow. So with that comment and the epiphany that followed, you decided you could help, and instead of delivering the food to a food bank, you were just
Right.
going to deliver it yourself.
We did. We loaded up the hippie bus.
You have a hippie bus.
We have a hippie bus.
Yeah. Good hippies should have hippie buses.
They should.
Yeah.
And we just would go up there and park it in front of Tay's Grocery, which is sort of the little bitty country store, and Randall was kind enough to allow us to park there. And people would come from all over the community, and they would come into the bus. And contrary to, and I don't want to be up here throwing off on food pantries too much, because they do good work, but they'd never been in a situation where you could have what you wanted. And the biggest problem we would run into wasn't that people would take too much, because we'd say, get whatever you want, but they would take too little. And we'd have to encourage them to take more.
So you were inviting people to come on the bus and get free food,
Right.
and you were parked right in front of the grocery store.
Well, the beer and cigarette store.
Okay, all right, just check.
We didn't have that.
Just checking, yeah. That would have been a very understanding proprietor there, but. So, and was it just food or what else? What else did you give away?
Initially, it was just food, and then it sort of morphed into other things. It morphed into coats. It morphed into toys for Christmas, toiletries, other items. Last year, we were fortunate enough to collect. We had 1,000 children's coats donated,
Wow.
and we distributed about 800 of them and kept a couple of hundred back.
Wow, that's spectacular.
Big fun.
So when you're giving out all that stuff, I'm assuming at this point the hippie bus must roll from time to time. You deliver also. It's not just people coming to you all the time.
It's both. We have some other vehicles now. We took the hippie bus out last Christmas Day, and it almost killed me.
Okay.
It was 13 degrees, and that was the high for the day.
Yeah. Heater doesn't work so well.
I made some adjustments after that.
Now, I understand you also do all kinds of music events. I mean, that's how I first heard about you.
We do.
I first heard about you actually from your next door neighbor,
Yeah.
Daryl Scott, told me about you.
How about that?
Yeah. So what are those? What's that all about? What are the music events like?
The music events started because all photographers want to be filmmakers, and we had a TV show on the smallest PBS affiliate in the country, WCTE, and thought it would end at that. And we filmed 8 shows without an audience initially, and obviously there wasn't enough clapping. And we invited people onto the farm after that, and we sort of opened up the farm to an audience. And Mississippi and I, who's sitting right there, we went to bed on Thursday night, and we said, well, how many people do you think will come? And I said 75. And we got up at 8:30 and looked out, and the gate was supposed to open at 10, and they were lined up down the dirt road for about a half a mile. And I looked at her and I said, we're going to need more portalets.
So the people come and and you have a show and
We do.
And then is that part of your gathering of both food and donations
It is.
Yeah.
It is an awareness, and I get to run my mouth, and I talk an awful lot about marginalized people, and I try to explain that it's very real and it's getting worse. And we have a very wonderful attendance of people that have excellent points of view, and it began like that. And we asked for their food the first year as they left, and I thought we'd get some. And at the end of the weekend, there was 2 heaping pickup truck loads full of food, and it was on.
Yeah. Well, is it right? Am I right that your motto is you don't have to pay and you don't have to pray?
That's exactly right.
Just come to the show, leave some good stuff behind.
You can pray if you want to. It's not necessary.
So give us a quick example, Jack, of somebody that has benefited from what you're up to.
Boy, we had one recently, I'll tell you. A lot of people now reach out to us on Facebook. I know some people think social media is not a positive thing. I think it's an incredible thing. I had a woman reach out to me from the little town nearest Monterey, and she essentially said she had said her name, and I'm married and have 3 children. My oldest child has autism, but you wouldn't know it because he can outfish anybody. And I was just moved. My little girl loves to do pageants for the crowns, and my 3-year-old son has had 5 open heart surgeries and is working on his 6th. I work 3rd shift at the chicken factory, and
Third shift is like midnight to dawn?
8:30 till 4:30 in the
8:30,
morning.
Okay.
And she said, I've heard that you help people with food. If you had a little extra, she goes, I have a plan to go down and pay off the title pond loan that I have on my car, wait 1 day, and take out another title pawn loan on my car so that I can buy groceries for my family.
Oh, wow.
I have food stamps. It's not enough. And we were there in 2 hours. I mean,
Wow.
it was heart-rending, but it's not. That's not an unusual letter.
Yeah. So this is obviously a problem you're not going to solve.
No.
So you're not changing the world, but
No.
you're changing people's lives for a few days or a week or two.
You know, I'm changing my life.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
And I understand you help people in all kinds of ways. I've heard stories about you paying off utility bills or keeping people from getting their water shut off. And
Yeah. I don't want you to think that it's coming out of my personal bank account.
you must be a rich dude.
I must be.
Yeah.
It's Daryl.
It's Daryl.
No, the people have been very kind and generous. We had a major article in USA Today last November that went worldwide, and that increased our donations. And so we do what we can. We take them on a first come basis. And
Yeah.
if we don't have it, we don't have it.
And is there a website, Jack, for the work you're doing?
There is. There is. The website is www.jammin@hippiejacks.com.
Jammin@hippiejacks.com.
No
And
G. Jam in.
Jam in. And no apostrophes in there?
No apostrophes. You gotta take it as it comes.
Jammin@hippiejacks.com.
Man, I wish I hadn't named it that.
Yeah.
And Facebook, we're very active on Facebook.
Yeah. And so, and that's just the way it's word of mouth, and people give you
Yes.
donations of both
Yes.
cash and goods, and you distribute it. And so now, as the guy who moved up from Florida in 1972, you've outlived a lot of people that were your neighbors when you first got
That's
there.
right. I asked Richard Knight once, who was the newspaper guy when I moved there. I said, "How do you become a local?" He said, "You got to outlive everybody that was here when you got here." I'm close.
You're close,
I'm
I bet. Well, listen, this could go on a while, and I hope it will at another time, Jack. I want to hang out with you. But meanwhile, I want to thank you for coming, driving all the way out from...
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah, and coming out to be here with us today and sharing your story. And I really invite people to check out jammin@hippiejacks.com and see what you're up to. Look at the pictures. Look at your own photographs, too. Look at
I don't have any of them up there.
But they'll find you.
No, I don't know. We're high. You got to come to the gallery to see those.
Okay. Well, listen, thanks again and congratulations. The winner of this week's Achievement Award, Jack Stoddard, Hippie Jack. Doing great stuff in his hometown.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Jack.
We'll see you after a while.
I'm coming. Hi, this is Nick Forster from eTown. If you want to stay up to date with all the performances, interviews, and behind-the-scenes footage, click the subscribe button. Thanks.